Hello dear learners, today we are going to discuss the MCQs from biochemistry from the carbohydrate metabolism. We are on part 4. From part 4 we are going to talk about few of the MCQs in continuation with part 1, 2 and 3. So I would request you all to first go through part 1, 2 and 3 before we proceed with the part 4, which is the continuation part for the MCQs from the glycolysis from carbohydrate metabolism. To start with the part 4, question 1. Now since part 4, it will start with question number 31, wherein remaining 30 questions you will get in earlier 3 parts, which is the continuation step by step process for the glycolysis carbohydrate metabolism part. So the question 1 is oxidation of glucose to pyruvate and then lactate through a series of enzyme mediated reactions which is releasing energy is known as dash. That means, as we have seen in earlier parts, that glucose to pyruvate conversion is the part of glycolysis, wherein 2 molecules of pyruvate are formed from the glucose, which is then converted by anaerobic process, wherein it is converting to lactate through anaerobic glycolysis, and this lactate will then diffuse from the muscles to the blood, and from the blood it will be taken up by the liver to convert the glucose to glycogen. So which is the further part from the lactate, but till the lactate part, whatever the aerobic and anaerobic oxidation of glucose occurs through a series of various enzyme mediated reactions which is responsible for releasing the energy is known as dash. Whether the process glycolysis, whether the process is EM pathway, whether it is EMP pathway, or all of them, which amongst the given is the correct for the given question? You can put your answer in the comment section fast, as question number 31 hai, so you can write it this way: 31A, 31D and so on for each and every question till the end of the video. Now this question we will look into the options like glycolysis, which is also known as EM pathway, that is Embedon-Meyerhof pathway, which is also known as EMP pathway, that is Embedon-Meyerhof-Parnas pathway. So the correct answer, if you will say, it is all of them, because in this process the glucose through a various reactions which are catalyzed by different enzymes is getting converted to the pyruvate and then to the lactate through the anaerobic process. So this is known as glycolysis. So the correct answer is, it is all of them. Next question is, glucose can be converted to other carbohydrates such as dash. Whether the glucose can also be converted through various metabolic reactions to other forms of carbohydrates like fructose, galactose, ribose, or all of them. Which amongst the given is the correct answer for the conversion of glucose? You can put your answer in the comment box like 32D, 32A and so on. We will go for the explanation. Now here, if you will talk about the glucose conversions, so through various reactions, see, you can see here, this is the glucose which by the reduction oxidation, that is oxidoreductase enzyme, it is getting converted to sorbitol, which is a reversible process again. Then here, if you will see, the glucose which is getting converted to fructose by the isomerization process. Then again glucose is getting converted through epimer formation, that is epimerization, to mannose. Then here the glucose is getting converted again through epimerization to mannose and galactose. Whereas in pentose phosphate pathway or phosphogluconate pathway, from the glycolysis, whatever the glucose 6-phosphate is there, it comes into the pathway of pentose phosphate pathway, wherein it is forming a pentose sugar, that is ribose. Okay, so this ribose conversion, so here you can see through various pathway like isomerization, epimerization, oxidation reduction, Then all these processes are forming various other sugars like fructose, mannose, galactose, ribose. So the correct answer is it is all of them. Fructose, galactose, ribose, all these for carbohydrates can be formed from the glucose. All these sugars can be formed from the glucose, which is pentose and hexoses. Next question is glucose converted to fats by the process dash. Whether the glucose is converted to fats by the process of gluconeogenesis, lipogenesis, thermogenesis or glycogenolysis. You can put your answer in the comment box. Till that we will go for the explanation. Now if you will talk about the glucose conversion to fat, then whatever the glucose which is there in the glycolysis is converted to pyruvate, is then converted to acetyl-CoA through various enzymatic reactions which is occurring in the mitochondria. This process is nothing but formation of glucose to fat. So this is nothing but wherein lipogenesis is, if you will talk about the first option, gluconeogenesis, so it is nothing but glucose formation. So here glucose is getting utilized, it is not forming. If you will talk about the second option, that is lipogenesis, then lipogenesis is nothing but it is generation of lipids, that is fats. So it is conversion of glucose to fats. It can be possible wherein you can say that whatever the glucose is entering into the glycolysis, pyruvate is generated which will enter to the Krebs cycle. Then citrates will generate acetyl-CoA. This acetyl-CoA which is being generated will enter into the fatty acid synthesis and it will get converted to triglyceride through triglyceride synthesis. So this conversion from acetyl-CoA to fatty acids and triglyceride is nothing but it is lipogenesis, that is conversion of glucose to fats. So the correct answer is it is lipogenesis. Glycogenolysis if you will talk about, then glycogenolysis is nothing but lysis, which is breakdown of glycogen. Again it is formation of glucose, it is converting from glycogen to glucose or some other form. So it is formation of glucose. So it is also not the correct answer. And thermogenesis is nothing but only the thermal generation, that is heat production. So the correct answer is it is lipogenesis. Next question is which hormone stimulates the glycolysis? Whether insulin stimulates the glycolysis, which is the utilization of glucose, that is glycolysis. Whether glucagon stimulates the glycolysis, whether growth hormone stimulates the glycolysis, or all of the above. Which amongst the given is correct? You can put your answer in the comment box. Till that we will go for the explanation. Now if you will talk about the role of insulin, wherein when the person eats something or after eating the glucose levels are increased, so this increased glucose levels are being regulated by the insulin which is released by the beta cells of isolates of Langerhans of pancreas. So here whatever the insulin is being released is responsible for metabolizing the glucose, wherein the glucose is utilized by various body tissues and then it is getting glucose is being utilized, and this glucose by various reactions like say for example glycolysis, it is getting converted to the other form, that is it is getting metabolized. So insulin is responsible for increasing the glycolysis. So it is stimulating the glycolysis, that is insulin. Glycolysis क्या होता है? ग्लूकोज का यूटिलाइजेशन. ग्लूकोज कब यूटिलाइज होगा? जब ग्लूकोज इंक्रीज होगा. And this insulin will, when sugar levels are high, this insulin is getting secreted and the insulin is responsible for utilizing the glucose through this glycolysis. So it stimulates the glycolysis. Next question is which hormone inhibits the glycolysis? Whether insulin inhibits the glycolysis, glucagon inhibits the glycolysis, growth hormone inhibits the glycolysis, or all of the above. The correct answer if you will talk about, definitely insulin is not there because it is responsible for utilizing the glucose, so it is stimulating the glycolysis. Now if you will talk about the glucagon, if you will see, glucagon क्या है? Glucagon भी pancreas से ही release होता है, but it is released from the alpha cells of pancreas, which is an hormone, glucagon, which stimulates the de novo glucose synthesis. Since it is stimulating the glucose synthesis, it cannot utilize the glucose, it is towards formation of glucose. So मतलब क्या होता है? जैसे इंसुलिन जब ग्लूकोज को मेटाबोलाइज करता है, जब शुगर लेवल इंक्रीज होता है, इंसुलिन रिलीज होता है, वैसे ही जब शुगर लेवल ड्रॉप डाउन होता है तब ग्लूकेगॉन रिलीज होता है पैनक्रियास से टू प्रमोट द ग्लूकोज. सो मतलब क्या होता है? जब फास्टिंग पे होता है पर्सन, जब ग्लूकोज लेवल्स लो होते हैं, तो ग्लूकेगॉन क्या करता है? ग्लूकेगॉन ग्लाइकोजन जो स्टोर होता है लीवर्स में, उसको मेटाबोलाइज करना स्टार्ट करते हैं एंड उसको प्रमोट करते हैं टू फॉर्म द ग्लूकोज. ओके, सो इट प्रमोट्स द ग्लाइकोजिनोलाइसिस, दैट इज ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ ग्लाइकोजन, and therefore it is inhibiting the glycolysis. Since it is promoting the breakdown of glycogen and forming the glucose, it cannot utilize the glucose, so it is inhibiting the glycolysis. Next question is, inherited deficiencies of hexokinase and pyruvate kinase enzymes leads to dash. Whether the deficiency of hexokinase and pyruvate kinase enzyme leads to hemolytic anemia, pernicious anemia, mania or sickle cell anemia, which amongst the given is the correct answer for the deficiencies of the given enzymes? You can put your answer in the comment section. Till that we will go for the explanation. Now if you will talk about the deficiencies, the factors which are responsible for hemolytic anemia, the one of the factor is enzyme defect, which is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase as well as pyruvate kinase. So this hemolytic anemia, wherein what happens, this RBCs are getting destroyed at the faster rate than the normal rate. So what happens here, here you can see this is the lactate dehydrogenase, and this hemoglobin part, like it is erythrocytes. From erythrocytes, these are the parts like hemoglobin and heme, wherein again it is hemoglobin which is bound by hemoglobin. So this lactate dehydrogenase enzyme, again pyruvate kinase enzyme, glucose 6-phosphate enzyme, so this play an important role, wherein the deficiencies of hexokinase and pyruvate kinase are leading, which are one of the cause, are leading for the hemolytic anemia. Next question is, the correct answer is hemolytic anemia. Next question is, the activity of dash enzyme increases when the ATP supply of cell depletes. Which enzyme increases the activity of dash enzyme increases, मतलब कौन से एंजाइम का एक्टिविटी इंक्रीज होता है? जब ATP यूटिलाइज होता है, जब ATP सप्लाई डिप्लीट होता है. वेदर इट इज फॉस्फोग्लिसरोकाइनेज, whether it is phosphofructokinase, whether it is phosphoglyceromutase or pyruvate kinase, which amongst the given is the correct answer? इसमें से कौन सा एंजाइम ऐसा है जो एक्टिविटी इंक्रीज करता है जब ATP का सप्लाई कम होता है? तो you can see here that it is first option is it is phosphoglycerokinase. Here phosphoglycerokinase जहाँ पे तुम लोग देख रहे हो वहाँ पे पॉसिबल नहीं है, बिकॉज यहाँ पे ADP से ATP जनरेट हो रहा है, ATP सप्लाई डिप्लीट नहीं हो रहा. Phosphofructokinase, if you will talk about phosphofructokinase, here see, here ATP से ADP हो रहा है, मतलब ATP यूटिलाइज हो रहा है, so ATP का फॉर्म डिप्लीट हो रहा है. सो दिस कैन बी योर पॉसिबिलिटी. अगर तुम लोग फॉस्फोग्लिसरोम्यूटेज देखते हो तो फॉस्फोग्लिसरोम्यूटेज में this one mutase, here there is no role, this is actually a energy generation phase. And if you will talk about the pyruvate kinase, which is pyruvate kinase, here also ATP is forming, so it is not depleting. So the correct answer is it is phosphofructokinase. ये एंजाइम का एक्टिविटी इंक्रीज होता है जब एटीपी का सप्लाई डिप्लीट होता है। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज, दिस इज नॉट वन ऑफ द स्टेप बिटवीन द ग्लाइकोलिसिस ऑफ ग्लिसराल्डिहाइड 3-फॉस्फेट एंड 3-फॉस्फोग्लिसरेट। मतलब जब ग्लिसराल्डिहाइड 3-फॉस्फेट से 3-फॉस्फोग्लिसरेट बनता है ग्लाइकोलिसिस में, तो इसमें से कौन सा स्टेप इसमें नहीं आता। सो हम लोग पहले स्टेप देख लेंगे। ग्लिसराल्डिहाइड 3-फॉस्फेट टू 3-फॉस्फोग्लिसरेट, ग्लिसराल्डिहाइड 3-फॉस्फेट टू 3-फॉस्फोग्लिसरेट, इसमें NAD का रिडक्शन होता है एंड ATP का जनरेशन होता है। बिसफॉस्फो से फॉस्फो फॉर्मेशन होता है। सो NAD का रिडक्शन एंड ADP का फॉस्फोराइलेशन। सो इफ यू विल टॉक अबाउट द ऑप्शंस, इसमें फॉर्मेशन ऑफ 1,3-बिसफॉस्फोग्लिसरेट है। 1,3-बिसफॉस्फोग्लिसरेट फॉर्म होता है क्या? येस, इट इज़ फॉर्मिंग 1,3-बिसफॉस्फोग्लिसरेट। ऑक्सीडेशन ऑफ NADH टू NAD प्लस, ATP सिंथेसिस, येस ATP सिंथेसिस हो रहा है। NADH टू NAD प्लस नहीं हो रहा है, यहाँ पे NAD प्लस टू NADH जा रहा है। सो दिस कैन बी द पॉसिबिलिटी दैट इट कैन बी द आंसर। देन catalysis by the phosphoglycerate kinase. Now here the phosphoglycerate kinase action is also there. So the correct answer, if you will talk about, it is B, that is oxidation of NADH to NAD plus. ये नहीं हो रहा है step, so it is not one of the step between the conversion of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to 3-phosphoglycerate. Next question is, in EMP pathway, the process by which ATP is formed from ADP is, मतलब कौन सा ऐसा प्रोसेस, कौन सा ऐसा स्टेप है जहाँ पे ATP से ADP जनरेट होता है। ये प्रोसेस को रिडक्शन बोलते हैं, ऑक्सीडेटिव फॉस्फोराइलेशन बोलते हैं, सबस्ट्रेट लेवल फॉस्फोराइलेशन बोलते हैं, या फोटोफॉस्फोराइलेशन बोलते हैं। द करेक्ट आंसर इज, इट इज सबस्ट्रेट लेवल फॉस्फोराइलेशन, वेयर इन ATP से ADP जनरेट होता है। मतलब ATP इज फॉर्म्ड फ्रॉम द ADP। ADP से ATP फॉर्म हो रहा है, ADP से ATP फॉर्म हो रहा है। तो यहाँ पे क्या होता है, बिसफॉस्फो है, दिस इज द सबस्ट्रेट एंड दिस इज the product wherein it is 3-phosphor, so it is only one. So from the substrate it is getting phosphorylated, wherein the ADP में एक phosphate भी एडिशन होता है, जो इसका एक phosphate ये लेके जाता है एंड यहाँ पे एक phosphate बचता है. So it is called as substrate level phosphorylation. Next question is, which of the following enzyme catalyzes the reversible reaction of glycolysis? रिवर्सिबल स्टेप्स जो होते हैं ग्लाइकोलिसिस के, उसमें से कौन सा एंजाइम कैटालाइज करता है? वेदर इट इज ग्लूकोकाइनेस, फॉस्फोफ्रक्टोकाइनेस, पायरुवेट काइनेस और नन ऑफ देम. विच अमॉन्ग्स द गिवन इज द करेक्ट आंसर? सो इफ यूल टॉक अबाउट द रिवर्सिबल एंड इरिवर्सिबल स्टेप्स, तो फर्स्ट इरिवर्सिबल है एंड लास्ट इरिवर्सिबल है. दिस फर्स्ट, थर्ड एंड लास्ट, दीज आर इरिवर्सिबल स्टेप्स. सो यहाँ पे हम लोगों को देखना है कि रिवर्सिबल रिएक्शन. तो अभी ये एंजाइम अगर तुम लोग देखते हो, ग्लूकोकाइनेस, फॉस्फोफ्रक्टोकाइनेस, पायरुवेट काइनेस, तो ये है हेक्सोकाइनेस विच इज़ नथिंग बट ग्लूकोकाइनेस. ओके, फॉस्फोफ्रक्टोकाइनेस एंड पायरुवेट काइनेस, ये तीनों एंजाइम इरिवर्सिबल स्टेप्स कैटालाइज करते हैं. इसका मतलब इसका आंसर है नन ऑफ देम, बिकॉज यहाँ पे रिवर्सिबल रिएक्शन पूछा है. सो द करेक्ट आंसर इज, इट इज नन ऑफ देम. विद दिस वी फिनिश विद फ्यू ऑफ द MCQs from carbohydrate metabolism, glycolysis part 4. Stay tuned with us for the further parts on the carbohydrate metabolism. Thank you.